speaking of churning, a team that has stopped making butter is the Buffalo Bills. Man, Spencer, you and I both called that this game was going to be an upset and a loss for the Buffalo Bills. It just felt like an absolute trap game. Denver's been playing very, very well recently. They had already beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and that Broncos defense is really beginning to come on. They win their third game in a row. They win on the road in Buffalo. Just really, really a phenomenal game from start to finish from the Broncos defense. And even Russell Wilson, I think we got to throw a lot of credit his way, has been playing a lot better. There have even been people online saying that Russell Wilson is fixed. He's now officially fixed. Get the what is it called? The invoice from the mechanic. He is fixed and ready to be out on the road cooking. Yeah, just great stuff from the Broncos here. And this was the Bills game to lose. It was at home. It was against a team that is known very widely known to have a lot of problems. They just weren't able to get it done, and Broncos showed up to play. What were your thoughts on this Monday night game, Spencer?
Well, it's kind of interesting when you look at the stat line here, Ryan, because the Broncos recorded 0 sacks on in the game here. But that is not in any way indicative of the amount of pressure they were able to get on Josh Allen in this game. They were at his doorstep early and often, specifically, like I mentioned earlier, off that side where Spencer Brown should be protecting. Baron Browning specifically was, again, having his way in this one. He has definitely just come in and picked right up where he left off last season. It was worth the wait for Baron Browning. Again, a huge fan of him. And then as far as really interesting thing I thought was that, the Bills defense actually pitched a really good game in this one, in my opinion. For what they could control, they did a really good job doing it. You can't stop a statistically impossible Cortland Sutton toe tap touchdown, of course. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to stop Javonte run through a motherfucker's face, Williams, from doing just that. But that being said, what they could control, they did a great job on.
All right, Spencer, and everybody, apologies. We like to try to get all 22 footage for you, but since this game was just last night at the time of recording, we don't have all 22 footage, so just went ahead and pulled the highlight here. But what a highlight it is. My goodness, Cortland Sutton. Hell of a play by Russell Wilson also.
That's what I'm saying. This is some vintage Russ, that signature kind of try to shift to your left and then spin out and make the defender over pursue. I haven't seen Russ pull something like that off in a really long time. It kind of indicates to me that Russell is, if there were any health concerns, like they had said there were there, in the last season, they seem to not be there any longer. Hell of a play from Russ, and then just very Lockett-esque in the chemistry on this play. Just right in that corner. Generally, it'd be the corner of the end zone for Locke, but it's pretty damn close to it on this one here. And again, a perfect ball. There's no chance of this getting taken away. That's one of the things I think in Russell Wilson's stint with Seattle that was the biggest thing that he did so well is he was absolutely electric at throwing that sideline ball and when he has a receiver he has a high level of chemistry with, like he's clearly developed with Sutton.
Exactly. Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. And something like vintage Russell Wilson is the no, yes play. That happened so many times over there in Seattle. And I found myself doing the exact same thing. I was like, oh God. And then it was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? The inflection changes the longer the play goes on. Just a phenomenal ball here by Russell Wilson. We'll move this clip forward a little bit so that we can see also what a great spot from the cameraman here. But my God, what an absolute dot right into the breadbasket. I mean, this is just right in the chest. There's absolutely no chance that this ball is going to be picked off or swatted away. This is just elite playmaking skills by Russell Wilson. I am no quarterback guru. I am not a quarterback coach. I'm not an offensive coordinator. I am not qualified to say whether or not Russell Wilson is fixed, but these are very, very good symptoms, or rather lack of symptoms, um, that we're seeing from Russell Wilson here from the previous tenure down there in Denver. Just a really, really phenomenal ball. Great maneuvering in the pocket, escaping pressure, slinging that thing down into the end zone, right in the corner of the pylon to the bread basket. And Cortland Sutton, as I said previously, I was not familiar with your game, my friend. This is just an incredible, incredible toe drag. You really, really do love to see it. Cortland Sutton has nearly been automatic in the end zone up to this point. Yeah, just a really, really great toe tap right into the bread basket from Russell Wilson. And Spencer, I know that you said that we need to stick with two clips on this one, but this was from the condensed replay, and I just went ahead and included the whole drive because from here, from the about the I don't know the 17-yard line all the way in, this is all Javonte, baby. This is two Javonte runs that are downhill and finishes off the drive with a very, very nice play by Russell Wilson. One thing I noticed was that Russell Wilson seems to have his touch and his finesse back, in my opinion. He had a lot of really interesting plays or really good plays where he kind of just floated that thing out there with really, really nice touch and finesse. But you had originally picked this one, Spencer, not to talk about Russell Wilson, but to talk about Javonte Williams. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's funny. On the Manning cast, I saw a clip where Patrick Mahomes actually predicted this.
I saw that.
This organization of plays, 2 runs and then a hard fake with the pass to the back. And that's exactly how it went down. But again, this is all set up with that hard running from Javonte Williams. In this situation, it you can tell that the D line is set to stop an inside handoff to Javonte. They really weren't expecting the pass here. I mean, Russell has a defender bearing down on him as he throws the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, they were thinking run, which would make sense because Javonte looked near unstoppable on this drive. Fakes it, floats it over the defender perfectly. Javonte with the nice hands to reel it in. Relatively routine for him. But again, it was all set up by the effort that Javonte shows on this first carry here where, I mean, gets downhill in a hurry, Ryan. Has a lot of green grass to run through, but, I mean, I haven't seen a player at the running back position that runs as hard as Javonte in quite some time. I mean, he not only does he feel comfortable in heavy contact scenarios, he seeks it. Look at how he ends this run right here. He's already had a nice run here. He could try to slip the defender very easily, but he says, nah, I'm not about that. I'm just going to run right through this guy. And, I was just kind of getting out of my seat, flexing, gritting my teeth like crazy. I don't think I've had that kind of reaction to watching running backs since Marshawn Lynch. I mean, he's a special player. And I think it makes a broader point, Ryan, that so much was made about this key position groups, those skill position players that Denver fields out there. In this game, those guys were making huge plays.
Yeah, that was just phenomenal stuff from Javonte Williams, and that to me really has been the key to why the Broncos have now won 3 in a row, is that they have just been flat out able to get it done on the ground. They can just hit you in the mouth, run downfield, and they are reliably sticking to it, and they are consistent, and they are just able to consistently get the run game going, which opens up a wide range of possibilities for Russell Wilson. When you have a player like Javonte Williams and you have a backup like Jaleel McLaughlin, that is just thunder and lightning right there. Those guys can beat you a number of ways. They can run downhill, they run fast, they have good hands. And that has really been a major key to victory. That and their defense has just really, really stepped up to the plate against really good offenses. And not only that, but Russell Wilson has just been playing way better. There were several moments in that game, Spencer. There was one where it was like a fake, and it was like a fake and then like a little like a shovel pass almost, or like just a flip. He did that twice. One of them scored, I believe. Just really, really great stuff from Russell Wilson. You love to see it, as I'm sure you're still a fan. He's playing at such a better level, and the getting the ground game going and having really great performances on defense are just making for complimentary football. And it's hard to beat teams that are firing on all cylinders like that.
And that's the perfect point for me to go off of, Ryan, is I'm sure the Denver chapter of Rumbler Nation is sick to death of hearing me bang the drum on this point, but it's just it continues to be proven more and more right as we progress in his ascension back into good quarterbacking. Russell Wilson, I mean, he is one of those quarterbacks that is uniquely, very, very uniquely improved by play action being established, like you said. Having that strong run game, it allows you to get those natural rollouts for him that he's so great on. That's why he's developed into such a great sideline passer, like we discussed when we were watching that clip, is that, he has an uncanny ability to place the ball where only the receiver can get it, especially on the run to either side. I mean, he's great across his body to the left. He's great to the right as well. And yeah, I think, I told you over text when we were watching this game, kind of texting back and forth as it was going, I really feel Denver has found their identity in this particular game because Javonte has come alive. He's running like a generational prospect, like we thought he was coming out of the draft. And that, like you said, that 1-2 threat with him and Jaleel, it's a lot for defenses to handle. It's giving a base to the offense that then Sean Payton can plug all these other things in, work around that. It's allowing, guys like Cortland Sutton to have arguably a career season right now. They've developed great chemistry, him and Russ together in the red zone specifically. And I think it's all predicated around, you got to get that front seven and those corners to creep forward. You have to sell them on the idea that you're going to be hard to stop if you let Javonte get a clean handoff with a head of steam straight into your gap.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean,
and especially like where Denver has historically in the Russell Wilson era had a lot of trouble is in red zone offense. When they get into the red zone, they had one of the worst red zone scoring percentages in the league last year, and leading up to these last few games where they've been performing really well. But now, like I think you said, I think part of finding their identity down there in Denver has a lot to do with the fact that now in the red zone, Cortland Sutton is damn near automatic, and you've got Jaleel McLaughlin and Javonte Williams that have no problem figuring out ways to hit the gaps or running around you. This is just a team that becomes very, very hard to stop in the red zone as well. And when you can convert those red zone trips into points and your defense is not allowing a lot of points, you suddenly become a very hard football team to beat. Kansas City Chiefs were the first victims of this. They were the first ones to discover this.
100%.
That defense can be absolutely suffocating. Stephon Diggs was just absolutely clamped by Pat Surtain in this game. I think he only had 2 catches on the entire game. Let me double check this. 3 catches for 34 yards the entire game. And when Pat Surtain was covering him, he only caught 1 ball. He is just absolutely locked down. There was even a tweet where was like a conversation that had leaked or something about people inquiring about Pat Surtain leading up to the trade deadline. And Denver said, absolutely not. There is no way. He is a cornerstone. We would never trade him. And now, since Russell Wilson is playing like this, you and I were discussing this, Spencer, I think you keep Russ in Denver with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson finally coming to some sort of understanding offensively of what's our identity, how are we going to move the ball downfield, where are our weapons, what are you good at? This all of a sudden might become a very, very hard team to beat. It's almost like with the amount of talent that they have, Spencer, they could be like a lesser form of the Chargers on offense, but with a better defense. You feel what I'm saying? Not necessarily as explosive on offense, but a defense that can back it up. And they have a lot of weapons that they can beat you a lot of different ways with on the offensive side of the ball.
I mean, sure, I would maintain the position that Denver defensively is still at a deficiency with their talent, especially on the front seven. working with kind of subpar linebacker play, not the best edge rushing going on right now. Even their interior has been kind of stripped away as well. But the secondary does remain. And I liken it a little bit to, the Texans kind of.
Mhm.
They're playing much larger and better football than really the sum of their parts. And it's being led, to tie it back into Sean Payton. I mean, I see so much of the Saints DNA kind of in this iteration
Mhm.
of the Denver team now. I mean, Javonte Williams is being deployed almost exactly how the Saints used to use Mark Ingram a
Mhm.
ton, and that he had been early. But they used that very consistent accuracy that he still possessed, Breeze-esque offense being made up here. And then sort of the fingerprints on the defense have given credit because he is an offensive mind. But frankly, when you look at the defensive coordinators they've rolled out over there in New Orleans, it's hard to give them much credit. So applause to both of them, Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, for finally seemingly figuring this thing out. And I agree with you, Ryan. I think they should give Russ another year here and see what they can create.